Hello and welcome back to the Week 11 NFL preview show, going over the top matchups for running back and wide receiver. We will be using our team defense tool for that. Now, I am your host, Tyler Weeman at FlatTyler83 on your DFS sites and on Twitter. Now, before we get into it, come join us at LineStar. We do have a free 7-day trial through the app stores. Just search LineStar DFS or LineStar app, and we should pop up. If you've never used us before, you can get 7 free days. That does also give you access to our website and all the sports we cover for everything. Props, DFS, you get it all. Now let's jump in to the top matchup going over to the team defense tool. Team defense tool is like DVOA, but it's a little bit different because we have a rolling average. And you can do different time frames. This season, last 10 games, last 5 games, last 2, each one breaks it down a little bit different. For this show, we are going to do the last 10 games. So we're going over the whole season pretty much and see where things shake out. Now, getting over to the running back spot, our top matchup of the week is Derrick Henry. This spot right here is a plus matchup for rushing touchdowns and rushing attempts. Now, Steelers allowing 1.5 touchdowns per game over the last 4 to the running back. The issue here that I have with Henry is, yeah, it's a great spot for touchdowns, but it's a negative spot for yardage. They're only allowing 78.8 yards per game on the ground, 80.5 over the last 4. So I like the spot, but for him to really pay off his salary, he's going to need 2 touchdowns and then get to 100 yards to get that bonus. He is a yardage and touchdown back. One of the big reasons why the Steelers are popping up in this on this tool is because of the reception work. 5 receptions for 44 yards is what they've been giving up, and Derrick Henry is averaging like 1 target a game on the season, 1.2 to be exact. So he's not going to get a big boost from that receiving yards situation or receiving situation. That would be Hill that gets that boost. However, he can get a boost by the touchdowns, and it's definitely good enough to play and have some Derrick Henry. But it is not an absolute smash spot because of that yardage situation. Next, we got Kareem Hunt versus the Buffalo Bills. Bills have not been great versus running back on the season, allowing 100 yards a game, 6 receptions, 54 receiving yards, and 0.5 touchdowns. So they're not allowing a ton of touchdowns, but they have been allowing a lot of yards. Now, they have been better over the short term. 85.8 yards per game over the last 4 with 6 receptions and 44 yards. So they have been improving, but still not great. Kareem Hunt has had a huge workload. He had 10 targets last week, which came out of pretty much nowhere because he's had 1 to 3 targets every single game, then all of a sudden jumps up with 10. So he absolutely has that in his bag. He is able to do that, and Chiefs have now shown that they're able or willing to give it to him. I don't mind this matchup for Kareem Hunt versus the Bills. We know he's going to have a giant usage. He's going to have a giant workload, and that's enough for me to consider him, especially in a good matchup versus the Bills. Next, Achane versus the Las Vegas Raiders. I absolutely love this spot for Achane. See, the thing here is that he has a huge target share with Tua. In Tua games, 7, 8, 5 targets. He is getting targeted a ton. And while the Raiders haven't made, teams pass to the running back, it is a schemed part of this Miami Dolphins defense or offense. And going against a defense that isn't that great, I am very much intrigued by going with some Achane this week. And I like him a lot. We'll probably be playing a ton of him. Next, we got Nick Chubb versus the Saints. Now, I don't love this spot. Well, I really like the spot. They're giving up 117 yards a game, 1.8 touchdowns a game to the running back, but I have big questions about Nick Chubb. He 15 for 39 yards and 1 target for -4 yards last week. The week before, 16 carries for 52 yards and 2 targets. Week before that, 11 for 22. He has not been efficient. He has not looked like it himself, and we haven't seen that burst yet. He had a very big injury, and I just don't think he is fully back yet. And I struggle to want to play him in this situation, even in a good matchup. Can you play him? Absolutely. I just don't think we're looking at a Nick Chubb ceiling game. He is a touchdown in yardage back, and I have questions about seeing either. He just has not had that type of efficiency yet. Can it happen in a good spot? Yes, I'm willing to have a little bit. I'm just not going to go overboard on Nick Chubb just because he has a good matchup. Next, we got Alexander Mattison versus Miami. I don't love the spot for Alexander Mattison. I mean, he hasn't topped 15 points at all this season, and he's, sharing a workload for his job. I just don't see a ceiling game out of him, and therefore I can't really go that way. I am a little interested in David Montgomery, though. This is player number 6. We're just going to go over it because I don't like Mattison. But David Montgomery is in an absolute smash spot this week versus the Jaguars. They're giving up 120 yards a game to the running back on the ground and 0.8 touchdowns over the last 4. Ranks for 28th in the league. I'm definitely in for some D. Montgomery in this spot. The Lions are going to be ahead in this game, probably ahead by a lot, and probably running the ball down the Jaguars' throat this week. D-Mont or Gibbs are both in play. Now let's get over to the wide receiver 1, and we got George Pickens at the top. George Pickens is in a super interesting matchup versus the Ravens, who have just been giving it up to wide receivers. 217 yards a game, 1.5 touchdowns, ranked 32nd in the league. Then you look at what Pickens has done with Russell Wilson. 5 for 111 and a touchdown, 4 for 74, and then 5 for 91 and a tutty. He's been very good with Wilson. He's in a great spot. Wheels up for George Pickens this week. One thing I do have to say, and this also goes back with Derrick Henry, as this game does have a 48.5 total, but I want to point out this one thing. Last 4 games, the high game total, Steelers versus Ravens, is 29 points. So we have a situation where these two teams, when they match up, generally is a low-scoring game. There are some differences this year, though, as it's a different Steelers offense. The Steelers offense is actually scoring points now with Fields and now Russell Wilson behind quarterback with Arthur Smith as the OC. Also, the Ravens are a much more explosive offense than we've seen with good old D. Henry, Zay Flowers, and crew. They have so many guys that they can use. That Ravens offense is super explosive. So this is a more explosive spot than years prior, but I just want to give the warning that these games have been low scoring over the last couple seasons. Next, we got Cortland Sutton versus the Atlanta Falcons. I love this spot for Cortland Sutton versus the Falcons. Falcons haven't been good through the air and allowing 151 yards per game and 1 touchdown per game to the wide receiver. Meanwhile, Sutton, 9 targets, 60 for 70 and a touchdown versus KC. 7 receptions for 122 versus Baltimore. 8 for 100 versus Carolina. He's been used a lot. He's been targeted a ton. And the Broncos have been opening up that offense and letting Bo Nix sling it a little bit more. I think this is a very interesting spot for Cortland Sutton. I'm absolutely fine going with some Cortland Sutton this week. Next, we got Alec Pierce versus the Jets. Now, we don't have Pittman slotted in yet again. He did miss last week. We're not really sure what's going on with him. Very well could miss. Now, if he is out, there's not a true number 1 for Indy, and that's why we have Alec Pierce here. They do have Josh Downs, who is kind of like a Jaden Reed in Green Bay, where he runs a lot of stuff out of the slot, runs a lot of stuff underneath, and they do different things with him, but he's not like a true outside number one. Thus, Alec Pierce is here. He's in a very interesting spot, but really Pierce, Adai Mitchell, or Josh Downs, all of them are pretty interesting versus this Jets team that really hasn't been able to stop very many people, and they've got a lot worse since Robert Saleh left the building. So I'm interested in some of these wide receivers for Indy, or versus the Jets for Indy for sure. Next, we got Brian Thomas Jr. versus the Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions have been a great spot to target, and I don't mind going back there, but I do have some reservations. My reservations are, since he has got hurt, 4 targets, 2 for 22 yards. 3 targets, 2 for 12. Those were also very good matchups, so I have some reservations wanting to go here. If Brian Thomas is showing he's healthy this week, practicing a lot, I am a little more inclined to go here, but I have some reservations for sure. He just has not been himself since he got hurt. It's also going to be Mac Jones at center, not Trevor Lawrence, so I don't absolutely love this spot for that. And then lastly, we have Deebo Samuel. I need to talk about Deebo. I think I talked about him a few weeks ago when they play Seattle, but he loves to play Seattle. 100 and a touchdown earlier this year, 149 and 2 last year, 79 and a touchdown last year, 133 and 1 in 2022. His one bad game, 97 total yards, and then 156 and 2. So the guy, for whatever reason, loves to go against Seattle and has some giant games. Deebo is absolutely in play this week. There was one other thing I just wanted to bring up. If we go to the last 5 games, one of the spots that I think looks very interesting is Jonathan Taylor. If you go to last 10, the Jets are all the way down here, but there's been big changes for the Jets defense, and Robert Saleh gone is really hurting this Jets defense. I think Jonathan Taylor is in a great great spot, and definitely very interested with him, and he has a little bit more target volume going his way now under Joe Flacco. So that'll do it for us today, guys. You guys have a good one. We will be back more this week with more NBA, more NFL content, and I hope you all have a great week. Good luck. See you guys later. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.